Guys, that's a soul-crushing loss last night. I don't care what John thinks. John's a football guy. I can tell you, playing hockey all my life, that's a bone, soul-crushing loss last night. Heart in the dagger of our playoff hopes. So people are taking last night well.
Okay, but you still have a 7-point lead above the cut line. I'm not going to sit there and say it's a dagger to the heart.
Soul-crushing, bone-crushing.
Sure, it hurts.
It was a bad loss.
Yeah.
And at this time of year when things are magnified.
So unnecessary.
Unnecessary is a great way to put it. And if you want to tell us you're different, don't blow 2-goal leads in the third period. Plain and simple. I thought it was pathetic the way they played at the end of that hockey game. They were already checked out. They had already moved on. They were not trying to score, possess the puck, forecheck. It was, hey, we're along for the ride. Just hope Vegas doesn't beat us.
And it's about time the players took ownership of this team, because I've been beating the drum for Todd McClellan. And, hey, a couple of days ago, he called out his team. They responded. He shouldn't have to call out his team every other game.
Right.
Like, take a little bit of ownership as players. And don't just simply sit there and say, well, we need to add more at the trade deadline. We all know that. We all hope that.
Yeah.
But until that happens, take care of your own business on the ice.
Guys, you were talking Pistons losing to Cleveland and the impact from the other day. This loss last night resonates more for the Wings and is more worrisome.
Answers that question I asked you earlier in terms of which one was worse.
Pistons have equity, playoff equity. They're more reliable.
Well, they're in first in their conference, and they have positioned themselves better, and obviously they went to the postseason last year. Hopefully they'll capitalize on that and go further this year. We all think they will. But the Wings, like, they've got to prove that this isn't the first domino that causes the house of cards to fall down.
Right.
Because I don't believe it's a house of cards.
I want you to be right really bad. Trade deadline, 3 names that I'm going to target, that I'm going to watch for. You mentioned one of them. Justin Falk, right-handed shot, St. Louis Blues, second pair blue liner, can play defense, can help generate some offense, can play all situations. Signed beyond this year, not a rental. Yzerman should be willing to give up a first. And the truth is, they've got their firsts. They've got 2 elite goalie prospects.
And a lot of buyers right now don't have their first.
Right. So you've got your firsts in perpetuity. You've got multiple goalie prospects. You've got prospects that your pool is flush with. And you got cap space. Like, yeah, you got to be able to do something. And I'm not suggesting gut them all for Justin Falk, but my point is, like, you can be competitive in these bidding markets, in these situations where you have to outbid other teams. The Red Wings have as much or more as anybody else making these offers. So, Falk's one name. Second name would be Rustalainen. Big ogre of a blue liner. Is playing the top pair right now in Philly. Would be the second pair guy here with Sherratt. You'd have a lot more physicality around the net front with those two. He can play big minutes, kill penalties, that physicality that is playoff hockey. Not a rental this year and next year. Those are 2 names. The third name for me, Vinny Trocheck. And this texter says, everybody's focused on blue line help. Team's awful 5-on-5. They need offense and lots of it. Matt in a truck. Well, Vinny Trocheck would help you on both ends of the ice. Mm-hmm. He's signed well beyond this year. This is year 4 of a 7-year deal. He would instantly be your second line center, create the Team USA line with DeBrincat and Kane on each side. And he would play in his own end as a back checker. He can win faceoffs, kill penalties. He's good defensively. And yeah, he can drive the second line offensively. He'd probably be the most expensive of everybody we've discussed.
In terms of what you'd have to give up, but not in terms of his contract.
Right, it's $5.6 million. It's actually team-friendly moving forward. And while he has a no-trade clause, he played for the Plymouth Whalers. He's played hockey in this state. He has a connection to the area. He's going to waive, not going to waive his no-trade clause to go to teams out west. He's publicly said that, but can't waive to everywhere, and this would be a team that's in the playoff mix. Vinny Trocheck would be the third name. So it's the 2 blue liners and Trocheck. I'm not getting caught up in Robert Thomas. I'm not getting caught up in Pettersson, who may be a head case, and they got to decide if they're going to defer some of that or retain some of that money. Let's just keep it with guys that I think are more than attainable for Steve Yzerman to make this hockey team better. 248-539-9797.
A lot of great options. And that's the thing is, you mentioned it yesterday, some of those right shot defensemen are off the board. But there are still plenty of options, whether it's on defense or the offensive side of things, guys that are going to be willing to play the entire ice.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about some guys that got dealt yesterday, just so we understand the urgency as this builds up. Parayko got dealt from the Blues to the Sabres.
Mm-hmm.
Sabres are a playoff team. They've had a great season. They're beefing up their blue line. That's a guy who's physical, played on Team Canada, right shot guy.
Myers is in Dallas.
Myers, who the Wings wanted. Big body. I don't know if I loved his game, but they wanted him. They didn't get him. He didn't want to come here. He goes to Dallas. Weegar gets dealt from Calgary to Utah. Again, second pair right shot. And Connor Murphy got dealt from Chicago to Edmonton. That's 4 right shot blue liners off the board in the last day here. Today's as good a day as any on deadline eve for Steve to get in on this market and nail it, because the alternative is they play this way in March. They don't do anything at the deadline. It's the same thing with the same results. We won't get playoff hockey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't mean you won't get playoff hockey, but you can certainly increase your odds. We talked about it with the Pistons. We've talked about it with the Lions, and we talked about it last year with the Tigers. Like, I don't always want to be waiting to the trade deadline, but they have that opportunity because that's where they are as a franchise. All right, they don't have the most talented roster in the business, but this is an opportunity to get better in this moment and actually capitalize on an opportunity and start a new run in the postseason.
Tex says, I've seen enough with Talbot. He's the common denominator. No bueno. Brandon in a truck. John, is it time to maybe get Costa in there as the number 2 goalie?
You might consider that. But you can also consider making the defense in front of him better.
No kidding.
Which is what we're continuing to talk about.
The Gibson thing feels like disaster is avoided. Didn't play last night, but the report was they don't expect extended absence.
And if I understand it right, too, Costa would have to have been medically unable to play to bring in the emergency goalie of...
You're saying Talbot would have to be...
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Talbot, yes.
Yeah, it's a good note. The rule is, I believe, if you call up a goalie under emergency circumstances...
Both have to be medically unable to get in.
For him to play in the game. But they could just call Costa up regular.
Sure.
And make him the number 2 goalie if they were ready. If you feel like, hey, Talbot's 38, long in the tooth, he doesn't have it, Gibby's our number 1 when he's healthy, and on every third game we want to throw Costa in there. I mean, it's a consideration.
Got to think about it.
248-539-9797. Guys, the Pistons or the Red Wings, neither team will be making any moves that are significant. If anything, they will be first round at best. They won't go past the second round. Wings probably won't even make the playoffs at this point, and it will fall off as they have terribly. I don't want to lump the two teams together.
No, because
I think it's easy to do because they're playing at the same time. I don't think they're the same teams. The Pistons have made the playoffs. The Pistons are the 1 seed in the East. The Pistons should absolutely win a playoff series this year, and we're talking about winning 2 and 3 playoff series. The Wings haven't made the playoffs.
They haven't made the playoffs, and I still want to make the point. I don't want the sky to be falling every minute of every day. Was last night a bad loss? Absolutely. But they are closer to the top of their division than they are to being out of the playoffs at this point. But they're missing opportunities. Last night was a perfect opportunity. They could have been tied for second with Buffalo by just finishing that game with 78 points. And then he would have only been 2 points behind Tampa, who's currently on a 3-game losing streak.
Right. And speaking of an opportunity, Friday night, after the deadline, whatever they do or don't do, they're going to have Florida in town. Reigning Cup champs who are nowhere near the team they've been. They've been all kinds of banged up and injured. They haven't had Barkov all year, and they've dealt with some big high-profile injuries. Stick a fork in them. You know? And I hate the yo-yoing. Like, you've heard the stat. They've picked up at least a point in every other game since, December, late November. But stop yo-yoing. Win 3 or 4 in a row here, and then we can all just...
Well, they had that chance where they could have gone, back-to-back with 4 points. Instead, they'd only come away with 3.
Yeah. But, the Panthers, I think they're running out of time to make a run. I mean, they're not...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but stick a fork in them. Make sure that's...
Dead and buried.
Yeah, dead and buried. One less team to worry about. You pick up a nice win on Friday night.
Don't be the reason that people say, "Oh, look out! Here come the Panthers!"
Right.
Woke a sleeping giant down the stretch. Yeah, I don't need to hear that. As tough as the Atlantic Division's been already.
Don't let the Panthers get hot.
You proud of yourself? You happy about that one?
I just wanted to see your reaction, and it stopped you in your tracks. Yes, I am.
I didn't even connect these dots, so think about it. As much of a bitch as the Atlantic Division has been, it's been this tough without the Florida Panthers. Don't let them be part of the problem. Anyway, 248-539-9797. We're going to talk about the Lions coming up at 8:35. A big deal in the NFL. Yesterday has us feeling some type of way. It's 97.1.